Hello, this is Daniel Posney, and this is called Shifting Perspectives. And today I'm going to talk about how to cultivate healthy masculine energy. And, part of the problem of being able to cultivate that is one, you got to really look for some good templates of what that looks like. And two, there's some really bad templates of what that doesn't look like. So that's kind of the majority of what we're shown. And three, there you got to look at whatever resistance that you have to the masculine or to that masculine energy in yourself. And if I'm talking to the guys, I'll talk to the women in a moment, but if I'm talking to the guys, it's like me, I looked at what was out there, and what I needed from my childhood was softness and tenderness and compassion and understanding and communication, which are all more feminine qualities. And so, what I saw out in the world as masculine energy was very unhealthy. One of my stepfathers was very effeminate, had no gumption, no assertion and discipline and any of that in him, and his son was the same way. And I don't know what was going on with them, but that's the way that they showed up in that relationship with my mom. And then I had another stepfather that was the opposite way, of really aggressive and really violent, and had no understanding of himself at all, and no real understanding about his own emotions. So what I kind of did was I just kind of went out there and just did the best that I could, and kind of gravitated to certain archetypes. And I found myself looking at role models in TV and movies like Clint Eastwood, Paul Newman, James Caan, these guys that were like, quiet, kind of badass, and they didn't say a lot, but you didn't mess with them. So I kind of followed that persona a little bit, but it's not really who I was. It was just like so many things, it was a coping mechanism. So I was thinking about this. What is it to have this healthy masculine energy? This is where I want to talk to the women too, is that a healthy masculine energy to me is about taking responsibility, and there's a certain amount of confidence in there, and a certain amount of awareness of yourself and your responsibilities and that kind of thing. Let me make sure that this is going good. Yeah, okay. So I needed to kind of pull that apart a little bit to find out what it is that I'm kind of blocking out of myself, or that I wasn't really focusing on. I was missing out on some part of being a man, or being this masculine energy. And the issue with a lot of women is that they're leaning too much into the masculine energy, and it's not just confidence and discipline and responsibility and inventiveness and those kind of things. It's actually being more aggressive and dressing more masculine, less feminine. It's kind of playing more the part of the man instead of just having the masculine energy. So it can kind of get out of balance. And one of the things that I've seen is, for a lot of people that are out of balance in their energy, but whether it be masculine or feminine, is they don't really know who they are. And this is where I want to kind of touch very gently on homosexuality and heterosexuality and anything in between. The issue isn't with the sexuality, usually. The issue is that you don't know who you are. And the sexuality part of it is just an indicator of that. And we think that, well, maybe I like to be with men, maybe I like to be with women, maybe I'm a man, maybe I'm a woman, I don't know. If that person was more set in themselves and who they knew themselves to be. And I know there's the argument, well, that's the problem. Well, yeah, that there's a problem, but there's also a solution that to find out who you are outside of other people's opinion and view of you. And so there's some really deep some deep introspection and some self-inquiry to happen there. And then if you find out who you are and you're determined, this is who I am outside of your sexuality, and then let your sexuality come to you, kind of thing. So what a lot of people do is they find themselves in their sexuality. I'm LGBT, I'm queer, I'm gay, I'm straight, you know. But a lot of those people don't really know who they are outside of that. So that's where this masculine energy, the healthy masculine, comes in, where it says, these are what my needs are. I need to be soft. I need to be tender. I need to be protected, or these kind of things. So you find out who you are, what your needs are, and how maybe you've been kind of blocking those things coming to you by your own personality, by your own negative imprint, and that kind of thing. So it's a real determination of who you are, and in knowing who you are, confidence builds. But that's not the whole thing. That's just kind of the benefit of the whole thing. So what I wrote is responsibility, forward movement, doing, inventing, ownership, and the one word that kind of hits me is gumption. I don't know, that just gumption kind of says the whole thing. I have this gumption about myself. I have this determination about myself. I'm owning this thing. I'm owning my emotions. I'm taking charge inside. Not so much the outside. Taking charge is not what healthy masculinity is intended to be. It's about knowing who you are inside, and from that you create and determine a reality that fits that. Forward momentum or forward movement is all a part of that. So the feminine energy is more about receiving and accepting, allowing, that kind of thing. And there's great power in that. What the masculine energy does is it goes forward, so it's got this forward momentum. That's why guys have penises. So it's a forward momentum of giving and that kind of thing. So we can't count on the outside world to show us what having healthy masculine energy looks like, because what we're all attracted to, what our egos are attracted to, is this unhealthy masculine energy. You know, there's more drama in it, there's more violence in it, there's more things that catch our ego. But inside of us, we long for this divine or sacred masculine energy, where we might call the father, or some kind of fatherly figure that shows up that way. So because of our own lives, our traumas, our upbringing, the world, all those things, we start to change our personality and have different coping mechanisms. And for me, it was insecurities and humor, and then just being a kind of a prick, kind of being a smart ass. That was my way. That was my unhealthy masculine energy. And that's how I pushed everybody away and kept everybody at a distance. So it's kind of like, you don't want to get too close to me because I'm going to make a joke about you, kind of thing. And then the other way is to get really aggressive. And that is one of the more insecure ways of the masculinity, is to get really aggressive against other people. And there's a lot of pain in that. So if you think about a scale, I had this in my mind, thinking about a scale that on one end of the scale is your being effeminate, and like that one stepfather that I had, he was very effeminate, but he also didn't have any sense of himself. You know, it's one thing to be have a feminine energy, but to be effeminate with no masculine energy, let's say that's on one end of the scale. And then on the other end of the scale is really aggressive and violent and anger and all these things. What I was feeling is somewhere in the middle. And then how you express yourself is however you express yourself. But as far as masculinity, or that masculine energy, I'm thinking about that place right in the middle, that the healthy masculine is there, centered, present, brave, confident, determined, ownership, responsibility place. From that place, he or she goes out and expresses himself, however that may be. His sexuality, with men, with women, however he's going to express himself. But from being in that healthy masculine energy, his self-determination and self-awareness, and self-realization really all kind of expresses from that. So it may be a kind of a challenging thing to think about how to get there, but I want to help with that. How I got myself in that feels like that place is starting to ask myself, why do I behave these ways? Why do I have these certain patterns? Why do I get upset at these certain things? And I started to take ownership. I started to take responsibility for myself and my actions and my triggers. And in that exercise right there, you start to self-determine. You start to activate this masculine energy within you of responsibility. So the other way is to just blame it on everyone else. But I was pulling back on myself, and I started to look at myself. I said, wait a minute, I'm kind of insecure. And that's something that I wouldn't admit before. But then I got really specific. I said, I'm not insecure, but my mind is. That's when things really open up. Then I could start to work on something. I could start to work on the effect of my mind and how it works and that kind of thing. Then practically or pragmatically, I started to determine things for myself. Like I started to say, instead of just giving to everyone, doing everything for everyone, I started to pull back and say, what does Daniel need? What do I want to do right now? And I would do things just for fun, or I would go off and spend too long at the beach, or go for a motorcycle ride, or whatever it is. But I determined for myself that, I started to, what's fun for me, or what do I need to do for myself? If I'm helping someone else create websites for them, what about my website? What about me? So there's this kind of pulling back into a little bit centered in the self, or self-centeredness. And then the next thing is that can really help this is to start acknowledging that you're good at something. And even if it's a negative thing, if you're good at something that kind of gives you this ownership, that's what I'm good at. Then you can start to shift into something. No, I'm great at fixing doorknobs. I'm great at putting gas in the car. That's what to remove that gas cap and put that nozzle on and flip that button. I know how to do this. I'm kind of being funny, but it's something that kind of builds up this determination that I know how to breathe air. I know how to live on this world, and that's a masculine energy, knowing how to do something. It's the intelligence. So the feminine energy is that loving energy, is that receiving energy. The masculine energy is the intelligence, the knowing, the doing energy. The next thing that can really help is to put things into lists. And because I was more in my feminine energy and more sensitive, I would get easily overwhelmed. And so to help that, I would put things in lists so that my mind wasn't carrying everything. I could put it down on paper. That really helped me to put like a checklist or a spreadsheet or some kind of list to lay everything out. And then as I did each one, I could knock them. I could put a little check there, or gray them out, or do a strike through or something. That was just a feel-good feeling that I'm accomplishing things. I took care of this. I'm not so overwhelmed. And then I can even prioritize and get really geeky with it. But that really helped me to kind of find myself again. Okay, who am I? I'm not so frazzled with, trying to figure out what to do. That's not a really healthy, grounded, masculine place to be. It's not feminine either. It's just unhealthy. So that really helped me to kind of find myself again and say, you know who I am? I'm all these different things. I'm this sensitive kid, and I'm all this masculine adult. I'm this take charge kind of a person, and I have this fire inside me, but I'm also sensitive. I'm passionate with fire, and sometimes I get angry, but I'm also concerned about other people's feelings. So that's what gave me kind of this determination of masculine energy of this is who I am. I don't have to fit into a box. I don't have to be this sexuality or that sexuality or this political preference or this religion. I could be so many things and still be in this solid, grounded, masculine energy. So, what else can I share about that? Oh, one of the things is to start cultivating this masculine energy. I was really concerned about hurting people. That if I started cultivating this masculine energy, that I'd become an asshole. I'd become, overly assertive, overly aggressive, and one of these people that demanded, things to be the way they wanted them. I didn't want that. I wanted to still be myself. So there is a way to do that, though. You can still be yourself and still be your soft, sensitive person if that's who you are, but also carry this inner fortitude, determination, confidence, gumption inside of you, and still be that. So I had to let that go. I had to let go of this idea that my masculinity was going to change me into something that I didn't want to be. But you're such an amazing being. There's so many different colors of the rainbow, and you can be that too. Just what this talk is about is allowing the balance. I'm not trying to change you into a straight heterosexual male or anything else. It's just if your personality has been created through trauma and through fear and through protecting yourself, there's some things that can be worked on. There's some things can be balanced. You could still be yourself if that's where you want to go. But imagine being in that place, really healthy in your masculine and feminine energy. That's amazing. And that's what I wish for everyone, is that they choose their sexuality, their preferences, their way of life from a really healthy, non-egoic state. So I hope that helps. I love you. Thank you. Bless you.